Good afternoon or good evening. Thank you for joining us. This is the Department of Communication at Andrews University. My name is Dr. William Smith, and I'm joined by a couple of associates, and we're glad to be able to talk with you this evening about our Master in Communication. We know you're out there. We can't see you, so your faces are hidden, but your presence is known, and we're glad that you're joining us this evening. If you have questions, if you'd like interaction, you can have as much as you want. All you need to do is send in your questions, and you'll notice that there's a text message number that you can text questions to, or you can send questions by email to us. Either way, we'll receive them and we'll begin to answer questions as quickly as we can while weaving it in between points that we want to be sure and discuss. I want to move straight to introductions tonight. Joining me this evening is another professor in the department and also a former student in the department. So let me start with the professor, and you can't see her picture, but she is here with us live. I'd like for you to introduce yourself. We see that you have a beautiful pink color on and looking very lovely in this picture. So tell us who you are.
Hi, I'm Desiree Vernon Brebner, one of the faculty members here in the Department of Communication. And I've been with the department now most recently since 2011.
All right, and what are some of the things that you teach, or your area of specialty in this department, if I may put it that way?
I think we just lost a signal there.
Okay.
Your picture froze and then I hear what you said.
Oh, I said just let us know some of the things you teach very briefly in the department as far as the graduate program.
Okay, I teach the research courses, the theory courses, and several electives, including crisis communication, gender, race, and class, issues in intercultural communication, etc.
All right, great. And then joining us also is a former student in communication, a master's graduate. And I would like for you to tell us who you are, when you graduated, and what your concentration or focus was when you were in the program.
Thank you. My name is Emerald Victorin, and I was a student, and I graduated in 2009. I did my master's in communication with a focus in advancement. I wanted to focus on working with nonprofits, so I went in that direction.
Excellent, Emerald. Nice to hear that. And may I ask you what you're doing now?
Well, right now I am working with Washington Adventist University. I received a fellowship, so I'm their corporate communication fellow.
Excellent. So I see you have not let grass grow under your feet since you finished a degree in our program.
No, I have not.
We're very proud of you.
Thank
So
you.
I know there's some questions that some of you have tonight. In fact, I have about 6 or 7 questions in front of me right now that you've already sent in wanting answers to. So I'm going to get to some of those, but I think the way to answer some of your questions is to begin by explaining some general things about the communication program, because then it becomes easier to answer some of the specific questions you've had if you know how our program works. Just before I get to that, though, I do want you to have a sense, because one of the questions has been, what can I do with a master's degree in communication? So I want to turn to you, Dr. Vernon Brebner, for you to talk about some of the things that our graduates have done with their master's degrees in communications. What directions have some of our graduates taken as a result of getting a master's degree in communication?
Okay, quite a variety of options. Most of the students have chosen an interdisciplinary track, which allowed them to combine communication with another area of interest. For example, some have combined communication with education and are teaching in higher education. We have several students who have joined faculty at the surrounding colleges and universities. We have students that have combined communication with human resources. We have students that have done public relations. There's one currently out in California that's doing social media marketing and management for a network. And we have some that have done media management. We also have students that have done very personalized programs in which they have produced something unique to them. So take, for example, one of our students used her program to develop her own company. and now she's running a fashion company. We have another student that's graduating this summer that he just completed creating his own theater production company. And
Wow.
so it gives you the opportunity to design a program to meet your personal needs.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like there's not very many limits to what you can do with a master's degree in communication. Sounds like the sky is the limit, and a person who wants to take this degree and move in many different directions is able to do that. That is wonderful. Well, one of the things that I'm going to do is share my screen now, and I am going to enable you to see what I'm going to pull up from the bulletin, because some of you have had questions as to how our program works. Dr. Vernon Brebner, can you see my screen? In Emerald?
Yes, very small, but I can see it.
Very small. Let's see if I can make this bigger so that you can see it better. How's that?
Yes, much better.
Okay. So I'm using the basic MA degree, and this is from the 2015-2016 bulletin that's available to you online. You could go to Andrews and type in 2015-16 bulletin, pull this up, and look for our MA degree in communication. I'm using this as a foundation to explain both the MA and the MDiv. I will go separately to the MDiv in a moment, because many of you who may be watching tonight have asked questions about the dual degree. But I want to explain how the basic degree works, because the general setup is the same. So if you notice, our degree has a core of 12 hours. It says degree core 12 hours. And if you notice, there are 4 credit-bearing courses plus a 0 credit course option, not option, but a course that's listed there. So the colloquium is where students come together, they share research, they get information, they have special presentations. It's required, but of course it's not credit bearing, which means that you also do not have to pay for it. But the other courses are credit bearing, and of course you pay for these, and they are core. So you have theory, you have research, you have worldview and ethics, and you also have advanced research. The reason why the core is important goes to one of the questions that we received tonight. Do I have to have a background in communication in order to take your graduate degree program? The answer is no, you do not have to have an undergraduate degree in communication to take our graduate degree in communication. We give you a foundation in our core that allows you to build from there and go forward in communication into a profession or onto your a PhD if you should choose, but you're able to move forward from here because we provide you with the solid foundational core that you would need. So you do not have to have an undergraduate degree in communication to move forward. The next thing I want you to see is that there are 6 hours of communication electives, and you can see 4 classes or 4 things that you can choose between. One is an internship or practicum. That's something we strongly encourage you to do. The interesting thing about communication is it's a platform for wherever you want to go, but wherever you go, people will want to know what experience you have. So sometimes doing a practicum or internship is an excellent way to get experience if you don't have it. We also have 3 other courses that you can choose among. If you notice, for each one of these, you can either choose 2 credits or 3 credits, which allows you to take either 3 courses or 2 courses, depending on how many credits you decide to do for each one. And then you have your concentration area. So here, if you notice, there are 12 hours, and we have several concentrations already named or listed. So you have communication management. And that combines courses with our department and the School of Business to give you a management foundation. I'm going to skip the next one and go on to the third one. We have International Communication Development. We take courses from another department, combine them with what we do to provide you a foundation in that. And we also have Media Studies, and this is for people that are interested in any form of media. We have a suite of courses that you could take depending on your specific area of interest in Media Studies. The second one that I skipped over is interdisciplinary communication. And I suspect, Emerald, that you did interdisciplinary communication. Would that be correct?
That is correct.
But then you chose, from what I understand, you chose to focus on development, right?
Yes, I did.
So that's the beauty of this concentration, this interdisciplinary communication area. If you want to do something like Emma Road wanted to do development, and we don't have a concentration named development, she was able to carve out her own. Do you remember some of the classes you took or some of the things you did to help you with that, to focus yourself on development?
I do not remember the specific classes, but I do remember taking many of the business courses that were offered there.
Okay, excellent. And Dr. Vernon Brebner, I'm sorry for reversing your name there. You mentioned that there were a number of students that have taken a specialized interest one way or another. Can you think of a unique example? I think you did mention someone who created her own fashion design. What were some of the things she did course-wise in this concentration area, if you remember, that allowed her to be able to develop something in fashion?
She took from our department courses in culture, she took courses in gender, and she took from other departments courses in anthropology and sociology, and she also took a course in religion because she was concerned about Christian modesty.
Okay. And this is an excellent time to mention that you can transfer into our program up to 6 hours of coursework from other universities. So if you have a pre-existing coursework at the graduate level that you'd like to bring in, or if there's some courses that you want to take outside of Andrews University, you can do that, especially in the concentration area. You can do that and bring the courses in. That can help you as well in creating your own specific concentration. And then moving down to the bottom, you'll notice the culminating experience. There are just 3 credits here. Of course, you take your comprehensive exam, but once again, that's 0 credits, which means it's nothing you pay for. It's just that you have to register and take your comprehensive exams. But as far as the credit-bearing coursework, there's 2 options. One is your production project, and the other is your master's thesis. So for your production project, that is something that you do if you know what you want to do is something industry related. You want to go out and get busy. As soon as you finish your master's degree, you may choose to do the production project. On the other hand, you may be contemplating going on and getting a PhD one of these days in communication, and in that case, I'd recommend the master's thesis. Dr. Vernon Brebner, can you tell us very briefly give us an example or 1 or 2 production projects and 1 or 2 examples of master's theses that you have seen during your time in this department?
Okay. One of the research projects that the student graduated in the spring semester dealt with Friday Night Lights. Some of you may have seen that television show. And he was concerned about the stereotypical images that are portrayed in the media of the African American male. And so he was able to do a content analysis on Friday Night Lights. And he had a fascinating study by the time he was through. Another one of our students this semester analyzed TED Talks. And she was concerned about the gender language that was used, and she wanted to find out if there were some traditional techniques and ways of speaking that were identical to males and identical to females. And so
wow.
She was able to study several of the TED Talks and was able to come up with some interesting findings as well. Then we have one of our alums that studied nonverbal communication and welcoming behavior. And she was able to do somewhat of an experiment at a local church in which she gathered footage from the video cameras in the lobby and was able to analyze the nonverbal behaviors of the greeters and ushers, etc., to get a sense of whether or not first-time visitors to the church felt welcomed. So those are at least 3 examples of individualized research projects that students have done. In terms of production projects, as I mentioned before, the student that developed her own fashion line, she was able to sketch her drawings for her catalog as part of her production project. We had another student that created a fundraising website page for a performing arts center so that they would be able to build long-term relationships with their clients. And as I mentioned before, we have another student that has created his own theater production company. Then another production would be a radio production. So we've had theater productions, we've had radio productions, we've had fashion productions, we've had websites. The production projects are as unique as the individuals who want to be entrepreneurs and want to be able to communicate their ideas and their products.
Wow, as a professor, I can imagine it's been fascinating watching your students come up with some of these projects and having to watch them and shepherd them through the process. It sounds exciting to me.
Indeed, indeed.
Well, Emma Rod, I was just wondering if you could, Emma Road, yeah, I was wondering if you could tell us, did you do a production project or did you do a thesis? Do you remember which direction you might have used? Con?
I did a thesis.
Okay, and what was yours about?
Mine's was the evolving presence of female leaders, deciphering their roles and conflict skills.
That sounds very scholarly. And I would suspect that was helpful for you with your with what you're doing now. I would suspect getting that experience with the scholarly writing. Am I correct about that?
Yes, yes, it was very helpful. And plus, doing the research and the interviews and coming up with the surveys and the whole process was very helpful.
Wow, so you were conducting original research.
Yes, I was.
That sounds wonderful. Okay, so those of you who are live, we have quite a few that have joined us, and we're excited. We know you're out there. You can see us. We can't see you, but though your faces are invisible, we feel your presence, and we're so glad that you've joined us this evening. I want to let you know that this session can be as helpful and interactive as you want to make it. All you have to do is text questions that you may have to the number that's shown on your screen. Specifically, that number is 269-815-8004. Once again, 269-815-8004. So if you have a phone in your hand, just text a message to this number and let us know what your questions are. Or you can send an email to COMMDEPT. Com Department is what that stands for. comdepartment@andrews.edu. Either way, when we get your questions, we'll weave our answers into our discussion. All right, some of the questions that I've already received tonight are in regard to the MDiv program. So I'm going to go back to screen sharing for in just a moment to explain to you a little bit about the MDiv program and how it functions, not the MDiv, the dual degree MDiv MA in communication. And I'm going to explain how it functions so that you can understand. All right, I hope you can see my screen, and I'm going to pull up once again the bulletin. Let's see. All right, here's the bulletin. Once again, the 2015-16 bulletin. And up above, is this big enough for you, Emma Road, and you, Dr. Vernon Brebner, to see?
Yes.
Yes, it looks very clear.
Okay, good. So as you can see, I'm looking at track 1, the dual degree, because this is the one that people have most of the questions about. And one of the common questions I get is, can I start and do this degree at any time, or is there a particular order or sequence in which I have to work through your degree versus the MDiv degree? The answer is you can do it however you want to do it. You can do our program first, the MDiv next, or you can do the MDiv first, our program next, or you can work them out so that you're doing them at the same time, taking a course here or there, or as many courses as you're able to handle with our program and theirs. We have deliberately structured our classes so that they fall in the evening because most of the MDiv courses are during the day. So our core courses, the ones you have to take that are required, are all being offered in the this fall, starting 2015 in the fall. They're all being offered in the evening. That way you don't have a conflict between your MDiv coursework and your MA in communication coursework. So you can take them at the same time if you would like to. Now, if you notice on the screen, it's gone through it's mentioned that the total credits for your MDiv MA dual degree is 103 credits. That begins to answer a question someone had where they asked if the MDiv program alone requires 92 credits, then how in the world can I do a dual degree with 33 credits for the MA. Well, we're not asking, this program is not requiring you to take 92 MDiv credits and 33 communication credits. What it is actually doing is bringing some things together so that you can take both the courses for both degrees and do it for a total of 103 credits, as opposed to what it would be if you were to add one completely on top of the other. So instead of 92 credits for track 1, you're doing 103, but for that extra 11 credits, you get a whole new additional degree in communication. So you are graduating with 2 degrees, an MDiv and an MA in communication. So for the MDiv requirement, there are 70 credits that are required for the MDiv portion. Now, it's a little tricky how they explain this. They roll through a lot of the courses that are required, and you can see that if you go to the bulletin itself. And then they come down and say, the bulletin says that there are 33 degree requirements for communication. Well, actually, if you look at it very carefully, you will notice that some of the courses, like the one my cursor is pointing at, is actually an MDiv course. What has actually happened is that we have accepted into our curriculum for the MDiv student, we have accepted some of the courses that you're taking already as equivalents to courses that we're teaching. So why does this matter? And you'll notice it again. If I scroll down further, you'll notice this course, Broadcast Evangelism. It has an MDiv designation. This course hasn't been taught in the past, but it will be an MDiv course. And then once again down here, instead of our Leadership Communication course, you have a CHMN course that we have accepted in its place. Why does this matter? It matters because your courses in the MDiv program cost less than our courses in the MA program. And we'll talk about price in just a minute, but as you know, it costs less. So the more of your credits we can accept into our programs, the less you have to pay. And the truth is that in the end, you must take 21, in actuality, 21 communication only courses are required, and the rest we have adopted from the MDiv program as equivalent, and we pulled them into what you can take. So you can pay the MDiv price for that. Now, I have to ask you, Emerald, I know you haven't heard this before, and so that's why I'm asking this. What I said, was it just as clear as mud, or was it a little clearer than mud?
Seems pretty clear to me, but perhaps it's because I've been through it already.
You've been through this already? Excellent. All right, so I hope, if it's not clear, please send a question. You know the numbers at the bottom of your screen or an email. Ask me the questions. But what I want you to know is in terms of price, you will have to pay for 21 hours of communication credits, not 33 hours, depending on how you choose to use your MDiv credits that have been approved for our program. I hope that's clear. Now, I'll segue right from there to costs. People want to know how much it costs, and as you have seen everywhere, there is a 45% discount going on right now for graduate coursework. Let me go back to where I can see you well, because I'm still where I'm looking at my screen. Let's stop the sharing and go back so you can see my face. All right, so you know that there are, you want to know the costs, and what you may be interested in knowing is that the usual cost for a graduate credit, one graduate credit, is $1,095. We've been able to get this discounted by 45%, so your cost will be $565 per credit hour. That helps significantly in lowering the cost. But if you want an additional 5%, there's an option for that too. You can take the GRE, and depending on your score, you can earn an additional 5% discount on your tuition. Okay, Dr. Vernon Brebner.
Yes.
Was my description just now clear, or did I get it lost in too many words?
It was clear.
Okay, great. Now I have several questions that are coming in, so let me pause. And one question is, I am finishing the MDiv program this August. How many credits do I need in the MA in communication to have the dual degree? All right, because of the way we do things, even though you're finishing all your coursework in the MDiv program, we will go through and help you select up to 12 hours of credits in your MDiv program that we can consider equivalent to the courses we offer. 12 is the maximum, but we can accept up to 12. So to answer your question specifically, you would need 21 of our credits in order to get the dual degree. I hope that helps. Now, if you know from the beginning what you're going to do, it makes it a little bit easier because we can plan it and plot it, and we can plan it so that the elective courses that you normally would take in the MDiv program, you are satisfied with our program. But if you haven't planned it from the beginning, then at least what we can do is add on only 21 credits. I hope that answers your question. If there's anything I said that wasn't clear, either one of you, please let me know so that I can clarify it. Now, I think the other question that came in just now is a duplicate of the same one. I did see a question coming in from Mr. Johnson, and I'm hoping that that will pop up on my screen very shortly. I don't see it yet, but I saw a question emailed in about that. While I'm taking a moment to look for a few more questions, I want to know if Dr. Vernon Brebner, one of the questions is, can I take classes online? Would you like to take a stab at that question? And I'll be right back in a moment with some more moderation of moderating some of the questions that we've just received.
The answer to that would be yes, hopefully. We just launched our first online class this summer, and I think it went well, so I would imagine that in the future there will be more online offerings.
Okay, excellent. Can you explain how we'll be doing this in the fall, or would you prefer that I did that?
I think you can do that one.
Okay. So what we are doing is we are offering live online, synchronous live online course offerings. So that means, let's say our class is being offered between 5 and 7 in the evening Eastern Standard Time. Regardless of where you are in the world, if you can devote that 2-hour block of time, or however much it is, if you can devote that amount of time at that specific time to being in our classroom, then on a regular basis, then yes, you can take our course. That can work for some, it can't work for others, but that's what we're offering at the moment. We're not prepared to do completely what you call asynchronous online, where you can take the course whenever you get around to it, to answer the questions, do a discussion. We're treating this like a live classroom environment, something like what we have right now, except more like what's going on between me and the other participants whose pictures you can see or whose faces you can see. That would be more like what it would be if you were in our classroom. You would actually we'd be able to see you on the camera feed, you'd be able to hear us, you'd be able to talk with us, we'd be able to interact. So we're offering live synchronous online course offerings for the fall. You don't have to actually move here. All right, would someone like to read one of these questions on the screen for me?
Can I receive life credits? Someone wants to know if they can receive life credits.
I always know that someone's going to ask me a question that is a stumper, and I'll have to say, let me find out who asked this question and let me get back to you. I can say that usually life credit options are usually reserved for undergraduate work. I have not known them to be offered for graduate work. However, I'm interested in where this question is coming from, the background behind it, what kind of experience might be involved. There are ways of proving knowledge and getting credit for things that you may have become a master in already. So I'd rather deal with you one-on-one. That would be an exceptional situation rather than the average situation. Is there another question for me?
Yes, this person says they are on track 2, so I guess they're also a part of the dual degree. And can you give them an idea of how that will work, especially if they already have a communication minor?
Okay, so very good questions. The communication minor will just provide good background for your degree in communication. It will not it's not graduate work, so it won't help necessarily with that part, but it does make it easier. Okay, at this point, I have to ask my technician to help me because I don't know exactly what happened. Okay, did you all see a whole bunch of screens appearing on my screen?
Yes.
I did.
Okay, I'm going to try this one more time. I'm not sure what happened, but uh-oh. Okay. I will not be able to show you the screen as far as the bulletin, what the bulletin says. But for the Track 2 program, if you look at the Andrews Bulletin, what you will see is that the total credits are 132. The MDiv, 99, and then, of course, it says the communication is 33. But once again, we've accepted as many credits as we can, which is 12 top, although we do not list 12 in the bulletin. But you can bring up to 12 credits into our program without a problem. So that is something that we have done to make it available to you. To make it as easy as possible for you to move through the program. But you do have a lot more credits to take with the Track 2. So in terms of how that will work, you can take your MDiv courses and you can take communication courses either at the same time, before or after, according to what you want to do. And you can work it out so that no more than 21 of the credits you take for our degree in communication are communication only, and the others can be substituted with MDiv courses. I hope that answers the question. I see there's another one coming in. I like you all reading me the questions. Emma Road, can you do this one for me, please? By the way, can you all see my face on the screen?
Yes, we can see you.
Okay.
I see it.
Okay.
Now, is it question 5? No, 6.
Question 4. Question 4.
Can I get denominational discounts?
Okay.
Yeah, 45%.
I like that answer. Yes, you can. A 45% discount. That is definitely denominational offered. If you're in the MDiv program, of course, you may be subsidized, so that's a denominational discount. The 45%, as Dr. Vernon Brebner has pointed out, is a discount. The 5%, if you were to take our GRE and score high enough, that would be a discount as well. As far as what you have at the undergraduate level, the denominational discount that you have for undergraduate tuition, that same scholarship program is not typically offered at the graduate level. What I would suggest for you, though, if you're sponsored, you might talk to your conference about sponsoring you for the MA in communication. They may not. I know that some are considering it already. The verdict has not gone in the yes direction for anyone, but I think the more requests they receive, the more likely that they may consider some form of sponsorship for the dual degree program. But at this time, you don't have the regular denominational discount. All right, question number 5. Are all courses offered online? Right now, all courses are not offered online. Some of our courses are. I need to explain that courses that are related to media, media production in particular, right now we're not prepared to try to offer those online. Those are studio courses, things that you need to be hands-on with to see how things are done and actually be involved in the process of developing media programming, and so those can't be taught online. However, theory and research-based courses can be taught online, and our aim is, and I have my fingers crossed, but our aim is to offer as many or all of these that we can, according to demand, between now and when we stop. So you're going to have to take it course by course, but I can tell you that starting this fall, we will have at least 3, possibly 5 courses that will be taught live synchronous online. And I hope that that will help you, and I hope that you'll join us. Okay, somebody else, fire away with a question.
Number 6, is there an online internship program to incorporate into the program? Example, through newspapers, broadcast news, and/or public relations.
Dr. Vernon Brebner, where do these questions come from? These are some doozies. An online internship program. Depending on what you mean when you ask that, I would be hesitant to say yes, because you may have the idea that somehow we'll deliver an internship to you online, and it doesn't work like that. However, what you can do is a remote internship. So let's say you have a work situation, something you volunteer at, something that you're involved in with your church that you're doing or could be doing. You could request for that to be your internship opportunity. It will need to be hands-on. Now, it is true, there are magazines, newspapers, a lot of media, website work that can be done online. So I don't mean to say that you can't do an online internship. You can. But what I am saying is that we're not going to deliver one to you online. We don't offer it as a course. It's something that you would have to engage in, a work opportunity type situation that you would have to engage in. And there are opportunities online, and there would be opportunities in your remote site in all likelihood. Is there anything that either of you would like to add to that? Any thoughts you have as a result of what I just said?
No, I'm thinking about one of our past students, Elroy, who currently works with the Hope Channel. And
Okay.
when Elroy started his internship, he was doing it remotely. By that I mean he did not have to relocate physically to the Hope Channel. He was
Okay.
able to work with them from his location in Berrien Springs. And so whether or not the internship is available, quote unquote, online, depends on who you're doing the internship with and what the job requires. At that phase of his work, he was largely doing research for some of the shows that they were producing. And so he was able to do the research and then send them the information as opposed to physically being there. So again, like Dr. Smith said, the internship is not a course that we're delivering online. You have to find the internship opportunity with the media organization and then make arrangements with them as to how you deliver the work that they require of you.
Excellent. Thank you for the clarity you just provided. I want to pause for just a moment and welcome DJ. DJ, I see your picture. I don't see your live face, but I'm wondering if I can hear your voice and if you can say hello. Okay, well, we see her face, and at some point, I think we're about to hear her voice. DJ?
Hi, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I'm so sorry about that. I was in a meeting and I really didn't get to get out in time to set up everything. So sorry about that. I have
It's
a new
okay.
computer. How are you guys doing?
We're doing fine. We know that you're coming in from a work situation, and we appreciate you dropping by for a few minutes. I'm just wondering if you could tell us what year you graduated and what you graduated in, and also what you're doing now.
Okay, I graduated officially with my master's interdisciplinary in 2011. July 2011.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Seems so long ago. And currently I'm living in San Diego, and I am running a center out here, a director at a tutoring center in Rancho Bernardo.
Excellent. So pleased to hear that you've been doing some wonderful things like this, and congratulations for finishing and not letting, as I like to say, grass grow under your feet.
Thank you so much.
All right. Can you see any of the questions that are popping up on your screen to the right?
Can. I believe, if I'm correct, you are at question number 7.
Yes. So can you read that to us?
Sure. What happens if a new MDiv student declares today the dual degree, but he starts taking the COM classes after 2017 when he finishes the MDiv core? Does he have a discount? Or if he has some classes now, but he does not finish all the common classes until 2017?
Okay,
It's a
good
long
question. Good question. The answer is we have a guaranteed 45% discount from the fall of 2015 through for the 2015-16 school year through the 2017-18 school year. So we have 2 years of a guaranteed discount. What happens after that depends on the number of students that have come into the program and some other factors that we'll be looking at as to whether the discount is really important for getting students to be able to do a degree in communication. So if you wait until then, you would be able to get some of the discount. How long it would continue, I cannot guarantee, but that's what you need to be aware of. We will be happy to welcome you whenever you choose to start. What I would suggest you do, though, is to declare from the beginning, as you have mentioned, that you're interested in the dual degree. That would mean you need to apply. There is no application online that says dual degree for MDiv MA. What you have to do is apply to the MDiv program, and you have to separately apply to the MA program. There's no way around that, but in both applications you indicate that it's your intent to do the dual degree. The reason why that is important is because then both your advisor on the MDiv side and your advisor over here on the MA side can help make sure that you take the courses that will allow you to finish both degrees in the least amount of time possible with the least challenges and difficulties possible. So declaring it is important. The only thing that will happen from our end is that it'll take us longer to welcome you and say, we're glad you're a part of us. However, if you were to ask me what I think you should do, I think you should start taking courses in communication as soon as possible, even if it's just one. Remember, you do have your courses in communication coming in the evening instead of during the day, which allows you to do both if you should choose to do that. Do you think that I answered that question thoroughly, DJ?
I think you did an awesome job with it. Pretty thorough.
Okay, who's going to do the next question?
Question number 8 says, if I do this program online as a graduate MDiv student, up to how many credits can I take per semester? Can I do the 21 credits in less than 1 year or more?
Okay. Excellent question once again. The average load for a graduate student in a full master's degree program is 9 credits. With research and with the reading levels, the reading quantity that you have to work through, 9 credits is considered a full load, and I don't recommend that you try to do more than 9, at least not initially, until you see how you can handle the course load. As far as finishing things in less than a year, it is possible. We do know definitively because someone has done it. We know definitively that it is possible to finish this degree in 1 calendar year. I must say that you are going to need to be motivated. You're going to need to be a good writer, a good thinker. You're going to have to be very organized and very determined. But if you are all of those things and a good scholar to boot, then you can finish this program in 1 calendar year. Now, that's doing the MA in communication only. I would be amazed if someone could do this and take MDiv courses at the same time and finish the MA in communication in 1 year, as far as that part of the coursework. It is designed, we require 33 credits now instead of 40. It's designed so that you can finish it in 18 months without a great degree of difficulty. But once again, even doing it in 18 months requires focus, determination, and some good writing skills. If you do not have good writing skills, then it could take you longer because you may have to learn how to write at the academic level, if that's not something you're familiar with. Is there anything that I need to add to that, Dr. Vernon Brebner?
No, I think that's fine. When you say 18 months, that includes fall, spring, and the full summer. And that ties into the first question 9, where they're asking, are there a lot of classes offered in the summer? And that depends on what they have chosen as their emphasis or concentration. So that's where it could become challenging as to whether or not you can finish it in 18 months.
Yes, and that's why declaring your dual degree as soon as possible is very important, because one of the things that we have to do here is help you map out a plan of study. And when we do that, it allows us to see what you need. And depending on how many commonalities there are in need, it helps us to determine what courses to offer, particularly in the summer when we can address specific needs that students have, especially if there are several that need the same course or type of courses. So this summer coming, next year, we will be offering courses during the summer. And by doing that, that will enable you to potentially finish in a calendar year if you're the unusual student, but it will definitely facilitate you doing it in the 18 months. I don't know too many people that can do it in a calendar year, but there was one person who's done it. She is finishing now in August, came in under this bulletin before the bulletin even got printed, and she'll be finishing in 12 months exactly. So hats off to her, but not many people are able to do that. I do want to stress that. So we are offering summer courses with the thought that you'll be able to finish in 18 months, because you'll be able to use your fall semester for writing your dissertation. Okay, are there a lot of courses offered in the summer? So, are there a lot of courses offered in the summer? We will determine this year what to offer this summer, course-wise, based on the need. So it's difficult for me to answer that at the moment, because we're still trying to, as we get students in, we're getting an idea as to how many courses are needed. This summer we only needed one course, so we only offered one. But we considered offering two, but in the end only one was needed, so that's what we offered. But I can imagine if there were 3 or 4 courses that were needed during the summer, we would do what is needed, because we are able to offer according to what the need is, and that's helpful to you for us to be able to do that. Okay, somebody read a question. Oh, we've got to stop, by the way, sometime soon. So if you want to stop asking questions, then we'll stop answering them. We'll get off the air.
Well, there's also the link that I think it's important at this point to remind for those who might be listening and want to make a note of where you can apply online. You might want to check out andrews.edu/apply. Yeah?
Yes, thank you very much for mentioning that. That is excellent, so that you can do that and easily apply. All the applying is done online. There's a very excellent question on that's up here in regard to diversity. And if we look at our screen tonight, it doesn't look like we have much diversity at all, but we do. It seems like we are all female, and we are all some version of African American or some version of that. But in actuality, we have in our program, we have to grab who's available, so we never know if it's going to be male, female, or whatever. But we have men and women in our program. We have students from Brazil. We have students from a variety of countries, actually. We have one from I want to say Hong Kong. Where am I thinking? Vernon Brebner.
We have a lot of kids.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking of
South Africa,
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia, the islands for sure. Ukraine, definitely. Yeah.
We have one. I want to say Hong Kong. It's not Hong Kong. I'm thinking of our graduate that's coming up in August here. We have white. We have black. We have Hispanic. We have all different types of students. So if you gathered us all together, it would look more like what the world looks. It's just that online we happen to all be female, we happen to all be black at the moment. But there is diversity in our department, and we are pleased about that, especially with our students.
Dr. Smith, I wanted to ask real quickly regarding the application fees. Are there two separate application fees considering that you're doing a dual?
Yes, that is something that I wanted to change on behalf of the students, was to see if we could get only one application fee. But it turns out that the scholarship money with which we are able to help students comes in part from some of these application fees. So in the end, it wouldn't be helpful to cut that out. So you do have to apply twice and pay the application fee twice. However, let me mention that if you apply by tomorrow, by end of day tomorrow, you can avoid the late fee. There is a late fee of $70, and we don't want that to happen to you. We'd rather you just pay I believe it is $60 of application, and you can, so yes, you have to do it twice, but the documents that you submit, for instance, your college transcripts, they can be moved over from one to the other. So if you've already applied to the MDiv, you just let them know. You email the graduate@andrews.edu, let them know all of my transcripts are part of my MDiv file. Please transfer them over for my communication file, and they will do that without any problem.
Okay, so, great. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you. And yes, one of our students is from China. I don't know why I could only think of Hong Kong. Thank you. All right. Another question. Are there any more questions, or did I get down to the end?
I think we've covered all 10 questions.
I think we have.
Add in response to someone asking if they could have, what were the options in the summer? That the summer is usually very intense and it's usually very personalized. A lot of the students use the summer to do their internships. That's usually 1 to 3 credits. They're doing their research for their master's thesis. That's another 3 credits. And some are doing their production projects. That's another 2 to 3 credits. And then there is the comprehensive exams. So there aren't a lot of lectures being done in the summer. There's a lot of independent work that's being done in the summer. And so from a financial aid perspective, students have registered for up to 5 credits just trying to get through their research, internship, production, and their comprehensive exams.
Excellent. Thank you for pointing that out. And we work with you as much as we can to make it possible for you to get through this program in a reasonable fashion according to what your goals are. But of course, the summer is just a beautiful time for you to get a lot of the independent work out of the way. So that is a wonderful opportunity. Okay, as we're winding down on our questions, I know there are a few that have come through that may not have made it up on the screen. If we did not answer your specific question, we will do so by way of email. And if you did not get a chance to watch all of this session, it will be posted online so that you can view it. It'll be available to you, and you can also invite others to view it. So please do not fear, your questions will not go unanswered, and you can watch what you missed if you were not able to view this entire program. Why don't we get a closing word? We haven't heard too much from DJ, so why don't you tell us anything you'd like to say about the communication programs? Let's hear from you, DJ.
Well, I mean, what I enjoyed about the communication program is just that, yes, it was broad, but then you could almost create a niche within the niche. That's kind of what happened with my circumstance. I think the last time when I joined you guys, we mentioned how frustrating it was for me at first when I graduated and relocated to San Diego to find, you know, a job and a gainful employment that actually was utilizing my skills, both academically and personally. And that was really a bit of a challenge for me. So I enjoyed the fact that I was given the tools to create resources out of my sources and in a way use my giftedness to create a niche within a niche. And what I chose to do was to look at the things that I was most passionate about. And one of the things that I was passionate about was empowering people to think critically for themselves and to make informed decisions. And I wanted to start with the younger generation, and so I ventured out to working with students. And so right now I am pretty much just mentoring and applying those skill sets to my students. And again, I worked with students from pre-K all the way up to high school level, getting ready for SAT and ACT. I also assist with prepping for the ACT and SAT as well. So pretty much, I'm so grateful for the experience that I had at Andrews University, and in particular the communications department, the staff, the expertise, the support, and definitely the insights, and of course, beyond a doubt, beyond that, the prayers. And so, yeah, I totally am so indebted to that department and you guys there.
Excellent. This is great to hear. And I think that based on what you're saying, you're going to keep on using this degree in the future to go on and on and on. It doesn't look like there's a limit to how you can use it to benefit you.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I did notice a question that I overlooked that had come in before the program started, and I was asked to answer this online during the session, and that is the difference in cost between the MDiv and the MA. The MDiv program costs about $3,000 a semester for up to, I think, 16 credits that you can take. The MA in communication is offered by credit hour, so it's $565 per credit hour with the discount in place. $565 per credit hour. If you were taking 9 credit hours, that would be $5,085. So it is about 2/3 more expensive than the MDiv program, but far less expensive than it would be if you were taking it at $1,095 per credit hour times $9. It'd be times 9 credits. That would be $9,855 for 9 hours. So I hope that knowing that difference in cost as well as what the discount does will make a difference for you. I was also asked what are some of the courses we're offering this fall, and we will be offering the communication. We'll be offering the research course, the first research course, communication research. We'll be offering communication theory, and we'll be offering communication worldview and ethics this fall, as well as a couple of other courses that are more elective that you can take if you should so choose. But the 3 core courses are all being offered in the evening. And then in the spring, we'll be offering the advanced communication research and some media courses specifically that we want you to get started in if media is one of your interests. So I would like to hear from you. One more thing from you, DJ. You wanted to make a point regarding the importance of the dual degree for women.
Women in particular in ministry. As you know, myself, I did well, it wasn't quite a dual, but a double, because it was 2 separate masters. And my area in the seminary was pastoral ministry in youth and ministry. And I think that this is a good time to reinforce and to remind, especially for women in ministry, that is looking at some of the conflicts that might be taking place right now regarding the decision with women in ministry and their placement. Sometimes it can be very frustrating because you're thinking, well, you know, I'm going to be doing a dual, and here I have this conflict that is happening, and the dual is emphasizing communications with an MDiv. And so I just wanted to reach out in particular for my female counterparts who might be thinking about that. Do not be discouraged. The fact that you are going to be also combining it with a communications degree is what is going to make it even more potent and a very powerful package. Because if you find yourself not being able to be fully placed in ministry or pastoral position like myself, then you, again, like I've been mentioning, you can create a niche within the niche, and that will also help to support you and to launch you into your God-given areas as a catalyst. So I just wanted to mention that so that you do not become discouraged and say, what's the point? I'm getting this great discount to do MDiv, and at the same time there is this backlash that might be taking place. And I just want to remind you that you're not doing this, just for yourself. You're also doing this for the people who are going to serve. And the more beautifully packaged you are, the more powerful you can get that job done.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. I'm so thankful you said that. I think the whole point of what we're doing here is learning how to become effective in spreading the gospel, in being able to educate people, in being able to improve people in various ways. And you can greatly extend your reach to those who need to hear from you if you understand how to use communication beyond preaching. If you understand effective communication in terms of media, in terms of small group dynamics, in terms of family communication, in so many other areas other than just in preaching, then you'll be that much more effective. And I like to think about the fact, DJ, I only can imagine what it's like, the old method where you come and you set up a tent and run a tent effort, that common
evangelistic strategy.
Exactly. Well, you get maybe a few dozen people coming out the first couple of nights, and maybe it tapers off, and by the time you're done with a 3-week series, you might baptize 6, 7, 8 if it's a good crusade. But imagine that in addition to doing that, if you should choose to do that, you also have the tools and the know-how to live stream it so that any and everyone in that same town and beyond can listen to your message live, whether they show up in your meeting or not.
Absolutely.
Now there, you're amplifying the message that you're trying to give, and whether those baptisms end up in your pool or not, what you are doing is spreading the gospel because of media in a way and to a degree that you could not if you did not understand how to use communication effectively to reach the masses. And that's what our program attempts to help you to do. Thank you so much for that. Emerald, why don't you share with us a closing thought or two that you may have?
I was thinking about the question with regards to diversity, and I thought about my personal experience. I'm from a Haitian background. My parents are Haitian. I was born in Guadeloupe, which is a French island in the Caribbean. But when I got to Andrews, I was introduced to so many more nationalities and people from all over the world. And because of this, I also was introduced to my first opportunity right after school. Just a few months after graduation, I became the Associate Director of Communication at the University of the Southern Caribbean. I would have never thought about this school or this opportunity had it not been for the friends that I met at Andrews who were from Trinidad, and they encouraged me to go back with them, and I thought, why not? Let me give it a try, and I got the position. I was also thinking as well, the questions about how many classes you can take together, I would really encourage students not to try and cram too many classes in one semester. Yes, it can be done if you're super dedicated, but trust me, I was there, and you will want and you will need to take the time to do the research, to write the papers, to turn in the assignments. You will need your time, so take the time.
Excellent points. It's so much better to get thoroughly so that you can retain it for the rest of your life than to rush through and cram through to finish and then not know what you've done. Now, speaking of diversity, I think we have diversity in every format. Diversity in terms of how the camera is working upside down, twirling all around. Diversity in terms of here's a male. Diversity in terms of here's somebody from Brazil. Hello, Pablo. Pablo Fernandez. We are actually wrapping up, but it is so nice of you to drop by and join us. We know that you are incredibly busy. Why don't you say a word about who you are? I was going to say why you're showing up at the end instead of the beginning, but that's too much to get into. Just
don't go in that direction, please.
No, we won't go in that direction. Just share with us who you are, please.
Okay, my name is Pablo Fernandez. I'm hoping to graduate. I'm working to graduate now in August for the department, the Master in Communication. I've been doing my research in religious television production and audience understanding. And at the same time, I've been working in the department and in the studio with video production and editing. So a lot of things going on at the same time.
You know what, Pablo, I realized something we didn't talk about is the studio. So can you tell us a little bit more for the students that are interested in media, particularly with media studies or media ministry, what they can get here at Andrews and what our studio is, what we have to offer, some of the things that they can do in relationship to gaining knowledge and experience here, right here.
Yes, we are building up a new, we are calling like an organization, a new organization in the communication department, strategically focused in serve the church with video production. So we're talking about documentaries, we're talking about television, we're talking about videos, and also any kind of videography services that any department in the church needs for outreach and strategies. So what we're doing now in our studio, we have 2 studios, one more for journalism production and chroma key virtual set productions, another more for any kind of any kind of production that needs a set. We have cameras that we can use even for inside, for outside recording, and also we have editing suites. So any students can join us and work with us in our studio, and at the same time, if the students need to develop projects that requires video recording and editing, we are there to serve and to teach, to help, and work together in anything that is needed in this area.
Okay, and if he sounds like something other than a student, it's because Pablo is both a student and a staff. He is our studio coordinator, and he brings a wealth of expertise and experience into the position, and he also is graduating from our program. Pablo, has our program helped you in any way? And even though you came in with a lot, have you benefited from our Masters in Communication?
Oh, for sure. It's very good when you come from a business position or context that you have spent a couple of years working, and then you make a stop to reflect, think, and go and research strategically where you're interested, where your passion is, where you want to contribute in the area that you're studying and you're working. So obviously the context is helpful. It gives you more ideas about yourself, about what you want and how you can take this program further. And the program, in the way that it's said, it helped me, give me this opportunity of think, research, and learn more about my passions and in video production, especially for religious video production.
Like that.
All right, well, Pablo, I thank you for coming in. You know, the Bible says the first shall be last, the last shall be first. But if I remember the parable about Jesus,
everybody needs to enter.
Well, that's true, and I remember the parable where Jesus did the grape juice, the wine at Cana, and they said, you have saved the best for last. Well, I think that you have just brought in that extra piece of best right at the end, and I thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure.
All right, I want to thank all of you for joining us this evening. It's been a pleasure talking with you, answering your questions, and being able to interact with you through this Google Hangout. So I want to give a shout out to Henrique, who just is following us on Google+. I want to give a shout out to my comrade down at Oakwood, George Johnson, who jumped in online at the last minute. I want to give a shout out to all of those people who decided from whether it was 2 weeks ago or just 15 minutes before the show that they were going to come in and follow us today with the Google Hangout. We thank you for coming. I want to encourage you, if you have questions, to still submit them. We'd love to hear from you. We want your feedback. We want to hear from you. We'd love to answer your questions. We'd love to see your applications coming through. Remember that the deadline for avoiding a late fee is for tomorrow. If you apply by midnight, you'll be able to avoid a late fee for the graduate program. All you need to do is go to andrews.edu and click and apply. Andrews.edu, apply, and that will take you to the link that you need to join for the graduate program. You'll be able to follow that for a graduate application. If you're not totally sure that you have all your questions answered, go ahead and apply anyway, and then get all your questions answered immediately afterward. Thank you for coming. We look forward to hearing from you soon. And God bless. Have a great evening, and good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.